Hello, everybody. For those who don't know me yet, I'm Maciek Górski from El Paso. I live here, and I work here as Android developer and sometimes as clean code evangelist. And today I will talk about testing, functional testing on Android. So for iOS guys, this might not be as interesting, but conceptually you may find some useful tips for you too. So before I start, I want you to meet my current product owner. It's Mateusz Mikulski from Znany Lekarz. And why I want you to meet him, because he allowed me to show you something. This is tests running from my application I'm developing with my team at El Paso. So there's like over 100 tests there with Espresso. It's cool. It's pretty slow, but it works and it's fun to write. So he allowed me to show you this stuff. Like, yeah, there's invalid email there. So let's go back. So Espresso, what is Espresso? It's a framework for Android development, for testing and functional testing. So you actually write code for your automated machine to click on some areas in the emulator or device. So for example, with a simple login screen, you can type some text there and press a submit button, and if the password is too short, it should show some error message, and then you can verify on that if it actually showed that in the application. So how does it look in code? A small disclaimer here, I will show you groovy code, so I hope you will understand it, because it's like Java but without semicolons. So yeah. And there are like 3 actions to do something. So on a given view, and you need to identify this view. So for example, on login email, you perform an action, and in this case it will be typing a correct email and then typing too short password, for example 3A's is too short for me, and then click on a submit button. Simple stuff, right? Looks good and it works. And then you check or verify that it shows some error message. Simple, right? So now you can, in this example, start writing tests for your calculator application, which doesn't do network connections, because if it was doing network connection there, it would fail. But yeah. So what's wrong with this code? Except that it's written in Groovy. Or no, it was about Java. Okay. So the first thing is, I don't really like that in test you show that you use a framework. So let's do a little abstraction here and think, what's this? What's the user doing? He wants to log in. So whenever you write test code, try to abstract the code just like you do with your production code. And the second part is obviously checking that there is a login error message or something like that. Simple. So this looks better. So what will be there inside? Will there be the same code that was there before? Like, who can guess? There are only 2 answers. Same. Wrong. There will be another layer of abstraction. So for example, typing text into view with ID, and clicking another view. Looks better than the code before. And in the end, yes, there will be Espresso, but it's not that important that it's Espresso or any other framework. I was using Robotium before that successfully. It was slower, but it worked too. So yeah, this is code I want you to write when you are writing tests. Yeah, but our apps are much bigger than calculator app, which you can click on a 2 plus 2 and then confirm that there is 4 after pressing equal sign. Yeah, right? Our apps do use internet. Who is not using internet in their apps? Uses permission internet. Nobody, really? Wow, it's so common to use internet. Okay, so if you're a cool guy, you use retrofit with RX Java or something like that. It doesn't matter really. So I have an example from my application from Znany Lekarz. It's searching by location for doctors or something. So in the end, it will show docs. And if you want to test, you cannot just instantiate this service in your activity, because in test you do not want to use that. You want to use a mocked version, a stub of this service. So if you use Dagger or anything else, it's cool. It's simple. And in the tests, you want to provide mock modules that will behave like your real application, but return your results instantly. So for example, if I have this service, I want to just return observable of a list of something I want to be found, like a list of doctors or anything. So there is another case. Our applications use GPS, and there is no GPS on like Travis CI or anywhere else, right? It won't work unless you set it up. So I like to do the same. So I have a location service that I will mock in tests. In the implementation, in the production code, it will simply use like Google Play services or maybe Location Manager if you're old or cool. And in the tests, it's the same. Just return some location that's known. It doesn't matter what it will, because you will feed that location to a service that will use search by location, and that will also mock it. So it will not care about the location, but you need to do that for your service to find it quickly, so you have your location instantly in tests. And another case, like I have something that uses internet connection by itself, like Facebook login button or G+ login button. So that's a bit more complicated, because I cannot simply mock the internet there. I do not know how it works in the end. But what I like to do is not simply add this login button into your layout directly, but create a provider for that. And in the code, in onCreate, when you create your layout, after inflating it, you just call a method from this provider, and it will add dynamically a login button to your layout. So what it allows you can actually have a mock version of that. So you can simply create a simple button, not a login button from Facebook or any other else, but a simple button that on click will call your callback and say, yeah, I have a Facebook token, here you go. And that's instantly. when you click it. So in the tests, when you click the button with ID Facebook login button, it will return you, it will call your callback and you will have it. You will have your token, which will be sent to your service and it will work. It will be fast. And a better thing is that if you want to fake that there is no internet connection or something failed in the library, you cannot know if it works correctly all the time, and you still want to test that, whatever happens when it fails, when there is no internet connection, you can simply replace one line and call another callback that's with error. Any error will do. So I could talk here like for 2 more minutes. How cool is it? But I don't know if you still follow me. So I will do a simple example of what I've shown here. Pair programming with Krzysztof. So he will look into my screen if I do it correctly. Hello. You have to hold it like this in the nose. Okay, so let's look at a simple application. Let me run it. I cannot see it because of the microphone. And I will talk like that. Okay, I'm running the application. So it's a simple GitHub client. Like if I type my GitHub login, it should show some info about me. You cannot see it, but there is Maciek Górski at a passion from Poland. I'm not sure if I can expand it. Is it better? No. Doesn't matter. It's a simple application, so to show you it's not mocked, so to show my name only, let me try other login. Like Krzysztof has only his name, doesn't share his company. That's sad. You work at a cool company, so okay. So we want to test that. Yeah, the application is clearly using internet, and there is some Dagger, and there is the GitHub API to. This will be better. And yeah, there is a simple activity and usual code that's using Eric's Java and stuff like that. But we want to test that. Oh, sorry. We'll move a bit. This will be better. So the application displays info about the user when the user is there and there is no internet connection error, and displays some error occurred during network, if I don't delete it, network operation if it fails. So if you want to test that, we create a new file, might be groovy, a simple test case. I'm old, so I still use Espresso 2.0 and test cases that, test cases that derive from activity instrumentation test case 2. Yeah, that's it. And to test it, we should show shows some info about user. And we want to do on view with on the edit view, right? We need to type there something, and then we press the action button and we confirm that in the text field below there is some information. So let's try to do that. I will static import stuff and delete unnecessary parentheses. There is view with ID. Oops. There is edit. Yeah. Unnecessary code. We want to perform type text. Unnecessary code. Yeah, we want to do that and press action button. Yeah, that's what we want to do. And then on view with ID text, we want to check that the correct version of matches, that we have a text view with some text. And it will be my name, like in the examples, and Poland. So, who already knows Espresso? Only a few of you. So, who can tell me why it will fail here? Except that it's using internet. Because I can do system clock sleep here to make it work. It's a good test. It will work, except there is one thing missing. Who can tell me? Okay, that's an implementation detail, but whenever you create a test for Espresso, you need to call getActivity because it actually shows the activity, like the name suggests. So without this line, it will not work. And let me try to run the tests. Bang. And we should see, that's not it. Oh, yeah, it's running. And yeah, 5-second test. That's a cool thing, and it passed. So yeah, that's not what we want to do. We want this test to be fast, and for that, we need to make a small change. We want to replace the service, network service, with our own implementation that will return exactly what we need instantly. So in this application, I have also a class called injector. And with that, I can set test modules. What's the name? Good test module. Yeah, but it created it not in the correct place. Yeah. So what's that? That's a Dagger module that overrides our provided things, whatever that is. So we do that. And in Groovy, you need actually to do this because you need, or maybe not anymore, but let's do that. And we want to provide GitHub API. And there will be some magic here. because we will return a closure that returns an observable with some value that will match me. So my name again and company, you should already know that. And country, no. Location, Poland. We'll make that an interface instead of closure, so it actually works. And then, if we run the test, it fails. Strange. Shouldn't be like that, but yeah, that's always cool. Let's see. Yeah, because there is this text view, and the text is null. That's not necessary anymore, but whoops. Oh, I actually need to do it here. Sorry for that. Because when the application starts, when the activity starts, it injected the original value there and somehow it didn't work. Oh, so it passed, but you didn't see it. So you trust me, it was what was there. No? Okay, that's a good pair programmer. They never trust you. Yeah, and it was faster. That's cool. That's how we want it. So we want to test the edge case where there's no internet connection and what happens there. So is it complex to do that? Or is it simple? Or is it just copying this and changing shows error and changing the module to bad module? And the text should be something from here. So I will simply copy that. Not inventing a new text. Bang. Yeah. And the bad module will be our good module, but it will be bad. And instead of just returning user, it will do an error. There is an error, yeah. IO exception, that always works. So is it all? Is it that simple? No? Yes, it is. So let me run it and let's see. A moment of... Yeah, there was an error and there was a correct result. You probably couldn't see it correctly, but trust me, it was there. So how cool is it? That will be all from our live coding. Thank you, Krzysztof. And so, is it all nice? Is Espresso super cool and we should start using it? Well, it's not that simple. There are still some issues with that. And for example, if you do more than one test and at least one of them opens another activity, you will have to force pressing back a couple of times because it will fail the second test. It's just like that. So the implementation will be clicking back a few times. So, yeah. Right? Michał? Yeah? Yeah, this solves the issue. He was having this issue for a month, and then yeah, I will copy these 2 lines from you, and yeah. 5. Yeah, because 6 is my favorite number and 5 is his, so it works for us to change this number. But the conflict would be if we were working together on a project. So there are more issues, like if you have a keyboard showing, so for example, any time you use edit text, on your local machine, on a fast computer, it will close the keyboard before performing another action. But on Travis, we actually have failures on every test with login screen, so we had to add a line to slow it down. So we overwritten our close keyboard action, so every test with edit text slows down, but then it's all green, so it's better green than fast. And there's still some, because Espresso is a fairly new framework, there are still some things missing from it. For example, anytime you want to check if a view shows a resource drawable, you would have to write a matcher for that, your own. There are plenty of examples for that, and I hope they will provide more and more matchers as time passes, but for now, sometimes you will have to stop. Okay, there is nothing to check on this specific thing I want to do, and you will have to write a few classes maybe for that. And for example, if you start working with recycler views, there is a contrib library for Espresso, but maybe it's missing too many things for me, because if you start doing like more complex checks on the items in recycler view, you would have to write code that if you didn't abstract it, if you didn't make it like 3 lines in this example, that if a view has doctor house in one view, then on the other view with some ID you want to check something. If you didn't want to abstract that, if you wanted to write this code directly, it would be a bit more complex to check that, and it's really unreadable. Don't look at it, look there or there, but not at the code there, because this is sad code that you would have to write. So abstract it. So to wrap up, what we learned here, what I hope you learned here, and I hope you are a bit more interested in testing if you are not testing, and if you are testing, maybe you learned something or confirmed your knowledge. I've shown you how expressive Espresso is. Well, in Groovy, but in Java it's only a bit worse. So if you're using Java, it's still cool. And yes, abstractions. Do abstractions in tests too. And yeah, I hope I showed you that using dependency injection in your code can help you solve some issues with testing. So yeah, I really hope I've shown you that. And yeah, even with things that you would consider untestable, I hope that UI testing will be a bit more easy to do. And yeah, that talk is cheap, so I do like coding, so I hope you enjoyed that part too. Fun. And when you do test, it's not like that you will just go into test and it will be all good. There will be moments when you will think, oh, it's taking too much time, or something doesn't work, and my tests still fail on CI for 2 weeks, and I don't know why. So And now, if you like this talk, I want you to thank my product owner for letting me or show you the code, or even that he really cares about how good quality in code matters. So please send a tweet to CFKSZ with a simple thank you. I will wait for that. And hashtag mobile Warsaw. Yeah. I'm not seeing anyone doing that. Oh, he is doing. Yeah. I hope for at least 10 tweets. It's You can do a picture of random guy to your left and send that. Or a selfie. But why are you taking a picture of me? Mobile Warsaw? Doesn't matter. I will be famous. Wow, people actually are writing stuff. Who is done? Raise your hand. 2, 3, 4. Yes? He will love that. I already did that once on a conference here in Zagreb, and it was like 20 tweets in 2 minutes. He was like, what the fuck is happening? I didn't say that. Okay, so if you don't like tweets, you can also thank him in person because he's sitting there in the corner. Hello, Mateusz. I'm not sure why is he there. He's watching me all the time. And he tells me I should write more tests. So, before we go into questions, a small announcement. Because we are growing our team, if you want to test more or start testing in Groovy especially, I invite you to send your CV to El Passion, or yeah, test your stuff. So if there are any questions, you can raise your hand. Yes.
Mocking all the stuff. Did you try this kind of approach where you do a more like black box testing using Espresso, or just like mocking everything?
Well, I'm mocking. I will repeat the questions. If I try to do a black box testing without mocking all the APIs, so the answer is I wouldn't like that. I didn't try it except for today, like with sleep 5 seconds. So it's slower. It may fail randomly. And if you only mock the last layer, so the retrofit APIs, I don't really care if retrofit works or not, because it works for thousands of people, so I trust them, and I don't want to test that. Yeah, there are some cons of that. So, for example, if the API changes, you wouldn't notice that, but always there are some pros and cons. So, no black box testing. No, I haven't noticed any problems with ordering of tests. Yes? For espresso, I don't think so. Maybe I haven't. I have never tried, like, using Roboelectric with that. Don't know, really. Yes, I know it's slower. The tests take like 2 minutes on a computer of mine, and on the CI it's 15 minutes. So it's a lot of time for all the tests, but I think it's worth it, or it will be worth it in half a year when my product owner says it's 18 minutes. Yeah, he looks at all the stats. Yes? Any other questions? Well, if not, thank you.